Recruiter here, the headless headhunter, to review your resumes to get you ahead of your job search. The resume we have up first is I don't actually know. I think this is a backend Java engineer. All they stated was software engineer, new grad, and that they feel my resume is well formatted with the required skills for a job. However, I struggle to get interviews. Well, I did a meter read of this, and this was not a good resume. This was a very, very awful resume. It's not the worst ever. I don't want to say like this is the worst ever. It's not, but it's like a, D- kind of resume. Definitely fails, but there's like one saving grace, but it still fails. So part of the problem is software engineer is not a job title. I'm aware that companies use it as a job title, but they are broken down into stacks. So front end, back end, and if back end, then it's Java, Python, or like .NET. I rarely see C# backend, or full stack. Those are different resumes. If you state that you are a software engineer, what you are really stating is that you are going to be one of those 5. And yes, a full stack resume that gets you interviews is actually going to be different than a front end or back end resume. I know that's weird, but it's true. So first off, this resume is not focused. I'm going to guess that you're Java. So what we're looking for in a back-end Java engineer, which again, I'm assuming you are, is Java and Spring, which I did find in the meter yeet. But I didn't find anything else, which would be Spring Boot, SQL, RESTful API microservices, OOP, Git, other APIs, Maven, Cloud, Architecting, SDLC, and MongoDB. Extra credit for like Kafka, Full Stack, Agile, CI/CD, Hibernate, and DevOps, and Docker. So that's partly why. In addition, if you are a international student, your ratio is going to be worse. You're going to have to apply to about 3 times as many jobs as a citizen is or green card holder to get an interview. It's just really rough for internationals overall. It's rough for everybody too. So first off, this should be one line and not bolded. This should be one line and not bolded. I don't need this. I don't need relevant coursework. I don't need this. You can keep the Dean's List. I think that's pretty nice. So this will be 3 lines max. Next is this skill section. They don't count. Skill sections don't count. Everybody gets mad at me, but like if you send in a candidate that only has these skills in the skill section, the hiring manager will go back and be like, how dare you? They don't have it. And I, in the beginning of my career, have made that mistake. Oh, it's in the skills section. They've got to have it. But guess what? It doesn't count. This section can be deleted and it won't matter from your resume. Now to your actual bullet points down here. This is the stuff we really care about. If you want to know what recruiters and hiring managers care about, it's the stuff here. In this case, developed a Spring Boot microservice, good, in Java to detect idle EC2. I don't care about EC2. Sorry, EC2, not ECT, which probably is also something in software. Software is the weirdest names. Datadog, don't really care. Slack SDS, don't care. So you had me. This was perfect. This is garbage. In addition, I don't see AWS. I do know that EC2 implies AWS, but if it's not in your resume, I can't move you forward. It doesn't matter if it's implied. You know what I would want you to say? Developed a Java microservices in Spring Boot and AWS that notified insurance owners. That's it. That would be a perfection of a sentence. That alone could get you an interview. This has nothing I want. Do I want Apache? I don't. This has nothing. The UI, Angular, not looking for Angular. No. So again, like this is the case of if this was full stack, I might be looking for Angular. But it's not. It's backend. I assume. I don't actually fully know. This person didn't tell me. So this is your problem, is you've wasted this part, you've wasted this part, and by the time I actually go here, everything is bolded to the point where I actually missed the stuff I wanted. Nothing should be bolded in your resume except for this project, internship, and your education and certificates, and your name. Okay? Nothing else should be bolded. The more bolding you do, the worse your resume. But in this case, I just don't find the qualifications I need. So optimized backend to solve bottlenecks, increased efficiency by processing 10,000 IDs. I'm not looking to process 10,000 IDs. I'm looking for this. This is what I'm looking for. This right here. This is why you're not getting an interview, is I'm not looking for 10,000 IDs in under 2 milliseconds. I don't even know if that stands for milliseconds. MS. DynamoDB using a multi-threaded. Multi-threaded actually is a good one. I do like multi-threaded. You know what? You got me there. Multi-threaded is something you do want to put, but stop bolding it. Using Java, I do care about in Apache. I don't care about in Kafka. I do. So this resume, like I said, I think is in fact like a D- resume, right? Like it's not the worst, but the formatting makes it near impossible to find what I need. And there's so much useless junk in the resume that by the time I finish reading it, I've either ran out of a lot of time or I miss what I need. So like I didn't even see multi-threaded because everything is bolded. Oh, and then you have Python. I didn't even see RESTful APIs. Yeah, we have 15 to 20 seconds to look at this. I challenge you to find these, again, in here in 15 to 20 seconds. It's because, like, that's all we got. That's all we got. I wish we could give more time. If we could give more time, maybe I can move you forward. So fix your formatting. This is definitely a formatting issue. And add a little bit more of these qualifications and take out some of the not useful stuff, like the 25% reduction in cloud. Oh, cloud! Yeah, but like what cloud? You didn't tell me. I assume maybe AWS because of the EC2. But if I was actually recruiting for this role, unless I specifically mentioned that to the hiring manager, I could not move you forward without directly stating AWS. So that's all I can do for this resume. If this was useful and y'all need more tips and tricks, I go over that on my Twitch channel every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out. If you leave a comment, even if it's to argue with me, I always like a good debate. So I'm happy to answer stuff in the comments. And then let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a front-end developer. So they said they are in India and they are looking for remote internships or junior roles in front-end development. So first, an internship resume is going to be different than a front-end developer resume. Those are two separate resumes. The really, really amazing front-end developer resume that gets you a job will not get you a job for an internship, and vice versa. So I'm going to judge this based on, I guess, front-end development full-time. Also, I don't know the Indian market, so I'm basing this on my US knowledge, so may not be as applicable in India, but because really, I can't read the language, so I can't really look at the job descriptions to determine it. So these are the US-based front-end developer requirements. So assuming I was reviewing this resume, not counting anything else, let's see if I would just move them forward. So nope, don't care. This should be one line. One line as well. This part I don't know because I don't know the differences. I assume this is the equivalency of high school and a GDA, but not GDA, whatever. But I don't think you need this. Again, I don't fully know how the school system works over there. So to actual stuff, this should not be bolded. This should be one line. Engineered interactive UI components using React.js. That's actually a pretty good bullet point. And style components, RESTful APIs. Okay. Optimized render cycles, collaborated within agile sprints. So I could not move them forward specifically because they did not state JavaScript, Angular, HTML, and CSS. I could not. Like, that is the big thing. Angular, HTML, CSS, and cloud. HTML is good, and CSS is where's the JavaScript. I don't think I could move them forward. This actually isn't terrible, the bullet points. I think you're kind of close to what it should be. But I could not move you forward because you do not have JavaScript, you don't have React, you don't have SQL. You do have a good chunk of the other stuff, so you just need more. And this resume is very difficult to read. So I want you to use this format, which again, I hope translates well in India. I don't know. I try not to give advice to stuff that is outside my domain, and how people recruit outside the United States is a little bit out of my domain. I have gotten people jobs in Africa, Australia, and Canada and the UK, but, you know, take this stuff with a grain of salt. So again, the big issue here is, that was the old resume. This one is you don't say JavaScript, and there's just not enough. But I do like how you wrote these. This and the last resume are almost equivalent in my mind. In fact, I think this resume is slightly better than the last one. So yeah, focus up. Put a little bit more in the bullet points. I need JavaScript, and good luck to you, because remote jobs are very competitive, which is what you're going for. Those are really, really tough. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a full stack software engineer in the United States. So what we're going to be looking for in a full stack software engineer in the United States is TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Node, Angular, Next.js, MongoDB, SQL, React.js, API, REST, Cloud, Agile, CI/CD, cross-functionally, and bonus points for architecture, extra language, and Git. At this point, I feel like I should tattoo it to my arm so that I could always know it, because there's almost a full stack engineer in almost every single video. But this person, we don't know their ratio yet, because they've applied to 80 and not gotten any interviews, which is not enough of a sample size. But I'm assuming they're not getting enough traction, so this is their revised version for this. So let's see what it is. Let's start the clock to see if I can find this stuff in the 20 seconds. So React, TypeScript, HTML, good. Python, good. Git, good. CI/CD, to deploy effectively. Yeah, that's good. I found basically what I wanted. That was kind of it. Yeah, that was it. That was good. I liked it. That's good. That's what I wanted. Built a React, TypeScript, and TypeScript, HTML, and Flask. I don't know if I care about Flask as much. Web application delivering real-time vaccine data to 3 teams. Created a Python microservices. Again, I don't care too much about microservices. Specifically for full stack, that's really more of like a pure backend one, but it's okay to put in. That didn't redacted. Again, this sentence is probably extraneous, but used Git for collaborative development and built CI/CD workflows to deploy features to AWS ECS. So this is solid. It has basically what I want. I think it's a little long, but this basically has what I want. My only real suggestion with this is you should put the AWS instead of Flask, so that they see it pretty quickly, because AWS is huge. You really want to show cloud. So but yeah, this is pretty solid. I think I could move you forward with this as long as you met the other requirements. This is not an incredible long time, so it's like 2.5 years, but this is good. With React, TypeScript, yeah, I like it. Is there anything else? No, I think this is pretty solid. I really like it. Again, there's some slight formatting issues here, I think, and then that should be a comma instead of this, but that's not a huge issue. So this is good. This is pretty good. I like this. I'm trying to think if there's anything here I'm really missing. You have Azure here. I think it's a little verbose, so you want to shrink it down just a smidge, not a lot, just a little bit. Little too much pepper. That's, it's a little too spicy. Not too much spicy though. But like, this is not a sentence I think I really need. Again, the Python microservices I can keep. And you already mentioned, oh, you don't mention JavaScript up above, so that one's okay. So what I would do is build a full stack web application in TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, HTML, and CSS in an AWS environment, which delivered real-time vaccine data to 3 separate teams. And then if you mention what those teams are, and then that way that takes a lot of them, and you can remove some of these other stuff. Won the Deloitte Silver Award for leading a full stack project in Agile course for public health in Canada. That's great. That should actually be your third. Because Agile and cross-functional are what we're looking for. But yeah, overall good. I'm not having a lot to say because I think this is a pretty solid resume. Again, you will still need to apply early because like it doesn't matter how good your resume is. If you apply too late, well, may not even see your resume, but overall I really like this. There's just a couple of very small tweaks we can use to do this. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a data analyst. This person has a horrible ratio, but they are an international student requiring sponsorship for full-time employment, which is going to tank your ratio. It's always going to be incredibly difficult. We're talking like, even with a good resume, you're going to need like 100 to 1 just to get another interview, even with a solid resume for an international student. You will need to show how we can work with it. So this is the case of this is one of the few cases of where you want a summary. So under this, just state on an X visa, which you can work at by doing Y. Because the difference between OPT and T visas and H-1Bs are night and day. Every single visa candidate is a snowflake, and I'm not using that in a derogatory term. I'm saying it because they are all exceptionally unique based on their circumstances. So I'm going to judge this based on a data analyst stuff in the US, and what we're looking for is SQL, Excel, macros, pivot tables, MS Office, Tableau, Power BI, data visualization, AI, ML, Python, PySpark, R, subject matter expert. So basically, we don't know what the data be doing. You got to tell us what the data does be. I don't know why I sounded like that. My words just stopped working. I am so tired. So subject matter expert, presenting to both technical and non-technical stakeholders, and multitask. So let's see if they actually have that. All right, so developed A/B testing. That's not really what I wanted. Demographs of... Yeah, nothing here I need. Satellite data from GCP. I don't know if I need cloud for this. Do I need cloud? Let me check again. No. Oh, I forgot to do a little stopwatch. That's fine. You know what? Let me redo this. You got a couple of extra seconds. So starting the clock, and now we can start. All right. Python is okay. SQL is good. CI/CD. I don't really care about. ML Ops. I don't care about. There's like no Excel. Tableau. It's okay. AWS. Yeah. There's nothing here. It's not like the worst, but formatting's hard to read. Oh wait, is there Excel? That's okay. Yeah, it would probably, even if they would this pass? It almost has what I would need. The problem is it is filled to the brim with stuff, and this is what you get where people try to cram in as much keywords, what they think are keywords and qualifications, as you can, and it doesn't work. There's so much extraneous stuff for this that I could not find really the data analyst stuff. So, and not even counting any of the, like, you know, their status or their, you know, because they stated that they are an international student, is this would maybe work. The problem is there's so much stuff is that I don't know if I even get to here in a normal review, and there's Excel. So you have too much stuff in your resume. It needs to look like this formatting wise. And I know this is what you want, is because you want to show why you're better than everybody, but you can't show why you're better than everybody in a resume. It doesn't work. They're not designed for it. Resumes are terrible at showing how good you are. That's not their purpose. They show that you meet the minimum qualifications. The interview is where you prove you're better than every other candidate. That's where you save all this stuff for. But, you know, and it's not like it's bad to have cloud, but you also have GCP and Google Cloud, which is what GCP stands for, and you have AWS somewhere, I thought, and then you also have, you know, ML models is fine, but it's too chaos, right? Like, this is a chaotic mess, because remember, we have that long, 20 seconds. That's it. That's all we get. And it's difficult to find what we need in 20 seconds with this. So you need to focus your resume, okay? Especially because you're in for one of the biggest challenges, which is getting a job on a visa. That is a nightmare. It is going to take you 3 times as many jobs to get this, 3 times as much work to get the same effect as somebody who's not an international student. That's just how that works. And right now you have overdone this because you are trying to fit everything you can into here in the assumption that the keywords will pop out or there's going to scan, but that's not how that works. It's a human doing it. A human who is overworked, has way too much stuff going on, is probably distracted, and may not know your industry, but it is a human. So write it for people like me, okay? Fools. Write it for fools, all right? I'm fine insulting myself, but there's just too much stuff here that I'm not going to be able to find what I actually need. And I don't know if I really saw how you were a subject matter expert either, because you need to... For people that are doing these like data analyst stuff, one of the biggest things with the resume is how simplified you can make it. Because when you're on the job, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to explain to me why all this stuff matters. And right now, perform statistical analysis on farm using R to save 3.5 million in food aid. Why? How did that work? I don't know. You didn't tell me. So the fact that you don't show me how to present to both technical and non-technical stakeholders is kind of evident in this, because you're smart. I need to know all this stuff, but you don't tell me it. Also, your education should be at the top, especially if you just graduated. It should be at the top. You don't need to show me when you when you started, just that you graduated. That should be at the top because the degree is typically what they're looking for. So this doesn't work because there's too much stuff. I would say if recruiters had 3 minutes to look through this resume, you'd be fine. But we don't. We have 20 seconds. The amount of time that it takes me to high five somebody and say, hey, where are you going, as I walk past is about how much time I have. So make it easy to understand at a glance. Make it boring and simple. That is what you want to do. The more you try to show how amazing you are and awesome you are and how you retrieval time by 35%, the worse you're going to do. So I wish you the best of luck because you were in an uphill struggle. Take that stuff and, I want you to be able to land something. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a internship for cloud or DevOps, and I'll be honest, I legitimately could not find these. I think this person is in Germany, and I can't really search for German jobs that well because they're in German. And in the US, they don't call them this. I just did not find any real DevOps or cloud internships, so this is a language issue that I'm not sure how to really solve, so I'm gonna have to review this on a guess. So which I really don't like doing. I really don't like guessing, because that's not how the qualifications are. So, but this is I'm a US-based recruiter, and there's a limit to my knowledge outside the US. But hopefully I can get them a position in Germany, and then I can get people positions, because I've already got them in Africa, UK, Canada, and Australia, and hopefully I can add Germany to that list. So what we're going to be looking for as a intern in a general rule is that you are able to work with people and you can take criticism. As we are going to be looking for a DevOps intern, my best guess, and again, this is a guess, it's an educated one, but it's still a guess, so don't quote me on this one, is we are going to be looking for a very small amount of these. Do you need all of these? No, I do not think you do. I think you need 75%. You probably only need about 30 to 40% as an intern. So I'm looking for some of these. And again, the ability to work well with others and take criticisms. In addition, you sent me a JPEG. Do not ever send a JPEG as your resume. The ATS actually might not be able to read that. If it's a PDF, if it's a Word doc or the Google version of Word doc, you're fine. Okay, you're perfect. It's great. We love you. If you send a JPEG, we may not actually be able to read it. So Let's see. Professional summary, don't really care. Wait, it doesn't really matter for this case. Education, fine. Again, your formatting is off. It should look like this. Technical skill sections don't matter because, again, you need to show how you use them and the reason or result under a work experience, internship, or project. So, VMware and Kubernetes. Again, so here's the thing. I don't care about your reducing costs. Like, here's the biggest problem with this is your job as an intern is to learn. Like, yeah, it's cool if you've done something, but reducing costs by 30% means nothing. What if the cost was $1? Did you reduce it from $1 to 70 cents? And that was the entire thing you've done is the entire time you were there, you saved 30 cents. Was it 30 billion? I don't know. You don't tell me, but it's also, I'm not looking for reducing costs. This stuff I'm looking for, I believe I'd be looking for this. I don't think I care about Grafana and JMeter. Again, boosting efficiency. If I told you as a recruiter, I boosted efficiency by 25%, would you believe me? I wouldn't. I actually have increased the amount of hires from our sourcing department by 188%, which I did because I'm good at sourcing and I'm good at teaching people how to do it. But I wouldn't even write it like that on a resume because people wouldn't know what that means. So again, you need to understand that they don't understand you. Refactored a monolithic Node.js. I don't think I'm going to be looking for Node.js, and a Docker microservices. I don't think I'd be looking for that. I can't confirm it because, again, I don't know. But yeah, there's like nothing there. Gateway response. Yeah, stop with the percentages, man. Every single, like, it's okay to have a percentage, but like, these don't mean anything. This is like the worst trend in resumes I've seen is everything's a percentage. And like, you want to use them sparingly. Unless you're a manager, everything there should only be like 2 percentages at max in your resume. Also, if you're applying for an internship, I don't know how you can work well with others, although you get a little bit of a boost by your previous ones. So this is written with somebody who knows what they're talking about in mind, and that is why it fails. So you need to simplify it. Keep it simple. Look in Germany, because I assume in Germany is where you're doing this. And look at the qualifications, because they're basically going to be, I'm assuming they're going to be some of these, not all of them, but some of them, and then how you can work well with others and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but this is way too technical, and stop with all the percentages. We're not getting you hired because we're not looking for improved scalabilities or boosting efficiencies or reducing setup time or accelerating development. We're doing it because you know Django, REST API, and you've built a multi-threaded whatever computer, and you've used DevOps. Like, I don't see DevOps. Where's any of the DevOps? I don't see the word DevOps. I need to even see the word DevOps. I do see some cloud. In fact, wait, can I even find, where was the cloud? Azure, okay, and DevOps, there it is. Yeah, it was so dense, I actually missed this. So, that's all I can do for this resume. You know, let me know if there's another job title you want me to find, because again, this doesn't really translate, but it's way too overly technical and filled with percentages and blah blah blahs. Let's go to the next resume. This is an abomination of formatting, but it is a front-end engineer, and what we're going to be looking for in a front-end is, I think I did one in this video already, I can't even remember, they all blur together. JavaScript, React, AngularJS, HTML, CSS, PHP, SQL, Scrum, Agile, RESTful APIs, SEO, Git, Docker, Jira, Vue, Next, bonuses for extra language, cloud, UI, UX, SaaS, TypeScript, and WordPress. So first off, I don't know what happened with this formatting. Please don't, though. This is really hard to read. I'm not sure what went wrong. I don't know if this is what you meant to send, but this is how it appeared on my end. There's no editing on it. I had the PDF and then I immediately put it up. It looked like this. So I think something went wrong in you sending it, but make it look like this, which almost does. So, all right. You actually have an okay ratio. You said you went to pursue an MS in data science and AI, but had to drop out, which stinks. So that's why there's a small gap of 6 months. That's not huge. But then you started working again. Again, gaps are not as big a deal as candidates think. Like, yeah, you get some managers and recruiters that are like, if you have a single gap, but most of us, again, the average, they're not going to care about your gap if it's shorter than 2 years. If it's 2 years, ooh, that's when it starts to get a little bit dicey. But if it's less than 2 years, you don't have to panic. And a lot of the time people panic and try to put way too much stuff in. And it ends up making it worse. So, all right. So, I'm having trouble reading this, but this should be one line, I think. I think this is, like, again, I think this is this one line. I'm not sure if that's related. I don't know what a CGPA is. I'm not sure if that's like a German thing, but I don't know what that is. So make it to the 4.0 because the US people may not understand it. So company for, okay, so I'm just going to ignore the formatting because the formatting is crazy. Developed customized client solutions, vanilla. Stop mentioning food. JS, improving close. So here, man, I hate saying this. I know I'm going to get yelled at. What I care about is JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. I'm aware that JS stands for JavaScript, but the person reviewing the resume may not be. They may not know. You overdid this. Don't just say using vanilla JavaScript. State directly and with your chest. JavaScript, HTML, CSS. All right? That if you are a front-end dev, that is your bread and butter. That is the oxygen that you will breathe. You need to put it on there because they may not know that vanilla JS means vanilla JavaScript. And sometimes it might not, because sometimes JavaScript is not front end. And it really confuses me as somebody who doesn't code. Because I learned that Java is the back end, JavaScript is the front end. And if you ever get that wrong as a recruiter, no candidate will take you seriously, except sometimes it's not, and it confuses me. So, demonstrated a time-based logging feature. I don't care about that. Built a auto-submit authorization workflow. Again, don't care about that. Enhanced a no-code tool. Again, I don't care about that. I would just remove this. I wouldn't even have this. Like, I don't think you need to explain this. You can explain it in the interview where it's like, yeah, I went to Germany and I made a mistake and wanted to go back home. But you don't need to put this, right? Like, it's okay if there's a small gap. You don't need to put this. Scaled using TypeScript, good. Linux, OOP, CSS modules. So yeah, it's not... I'm really wondering if I'm missing anything, but like, yeah, I need this stuff, right? Like, this is the qualifications. This is what I need, okay? Like, I understand you said vanilla, but this is, I'm not looking for demonstrated a time-based logging feature for technicians. I'm looking for you to state, used SQL and RESTful APIs along with Vue and Next to create a login-based system for technicians, right? You need to have these qualifications. They are the minimum qualifications. They're not really keywords. Keywords don't actually exist. Recruiters don't call them keywords. It's not what we call them. Nobody in corporate calls them keywords. They are qualifications. So yeah, that's kind of what I can do with this one. Again, I'm not sure what happened with the formatting. But it's not, you have a little bit, but I just need more, right? Like, if you're looking for front end, this is what I need, and I don't see it. And if it's not in your resume, it doesn't exist. That is the rule. I would have a shirt on it that just says, if it's not in your resume, you don't exist, or something. Like, it just, you can't, right? You have to have it in your resume. And I don't see most of what I was looking for. So maybe for a development engineer, that's a different qualification set list, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for front end. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a data engineer. They might be looking for a data engineer intern. They have a terrible ratio. They've applied to 1,500 companies and gotten basically nothing. So that's not good at all. So what I would be looking for a data engineer is Python, ETL, data pipeline, Scala, data algorithms, SDLC, SQL, big data, cloud, warehousing, ability to manage and communicate data warehouse plans to non-technical people. Doesn't actually have to be data warehouse plans, it could be anything. And then if you are an intern, I would also need how you took directions and criticism and worked well with others. So I'm assuming this is an internship, but this is what I'm going to be looking for. All right, so first off, this is a nightmare to read and you completely doxed yourself, so I cannot scroll past this. Please stop doing that, people. I do not need your phone number and name on your resume when you submit it to me. Please remove that. So this, nothing here should be bolded. This should be one line. This should be one line. I don't need your relevant coursework. Your skills section is irrelevant and can be safely deleted. Again, everybody loves skill sections, and I don't like, every candidate tries to put in a skills section, and I don't know, like, everybody defends it, and I don't know why. They're basically useless. And then you need it to look like this because your font and formatting is off. So this is the guide for it. It's on my website. That's fine, along with the template resume. But there's something off about this. This should be Arial 10.5, not whatever this is, because this is really small. It's actually kind of hard to read. I have terrible eyesight. I am bad at eyesight. It's never been something I'm good at, even when I'm young, and I'm not young anymore. So let's see if they actually have the qualifications as I hover over here to try to read this to not hurt my eyes. Achieved real-time cross-data system syncing measured by 100% reduction in manual handoffs and faster reporting cycles by building data pipelines from PostSQL to PostgreSQL, and from PostgreSQL to both PostgreSQL and BigQuery, and implementing CDC using Google Cloud Data Streams. So this is a garbage sentence. First off, the only thing I actually care about is the SQL and the cloud. The second thing is, I'm not looking for this, right? Like, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a 40% drop in SQL runtimes. I don't know what that means. I'm not looking for a delivered ready-to-serve data sets for XR and analytics as measured by improved dashboards and insight accuracy. That's not a thing. That's not in the job description. If it's not in the job description, it doesn't matter. What's in the job description, and I probably should have to update this, is Python, ETL, data pipeline, Scala, data, algorithms, SDLC, SQL, which you did have, big data, Spark, cloud, warehousing, and communicating with non-technical people, and then, you know, how you worked well together if you're an intern. I don't see that. You're getting rejected because you're trying to fit everything you've ever done because it's impressive, but this is not what we're looking for. We are singularly focused on looking for what is in the qualifications. If you solved world hunger, I would personally thank you, would not move you forward unless you had these qualifications, which hurts to say out loud, but that's the truth. Like, you need to show me, not tell me, which is why skill sections don't work. Show me, how did you use Python and SQL? You kind of did with SQL. That's a confusing sentence. Where did you use cloud? Which is so hidden here. I missed it because of the terrible formatting. Nothing here should be bolded. Absolutely nothing. And yeah, that's as far as I could reasonably get down in here. I'm like even scanning through the rest of that, and I don't even see anything else. So like, I know you put work into this. I know you were showing how good you are, but you can't. You can't show how good you are in a resume. They're not built for it, right? Like, it doesn't work. It just never does work. Showing how good you are in the resume leads to failure. It just doesn't work. You have to show me how you use the minimum qualifications. That's it. That's the point. If you summarize every video from before and now, it's that. That's it. That's the key takeaway. Key takeaway. But I don't see it. I don't see how you manage data. I don't see ETL, which actually I'm shocked. Most people usually do put ETL. Oh, here, way at the bottom, you have like AWS stuff, but like no one's gonna get that far. This is a mess of data, and you need to make it easy and simple. Because remember, we have 20 seconds. 20 seconds to find this, and not the technical knowledge. Sometimes the manager doesn't have the technical knowledge either. It's not just a recruiting thing. Sometimes they are hiring somebody to tell them the technical knowledge. And if you wrote your resume like this, you've already failed, because it's clear that you cannot impart clear and concise stuff to people that are non-technical. So there's nothing here besides SQL. I actually don't think I found anything I need besides SQL and Cloud, and I almost missed Cloud. So refocus your resume. Make it look like this. Boring and basic is good. A resume is a government form you turn in at the DMV. It is not a marketing document. You know some of the worst resumes I've seen in my life? Marketers and marketers and graphic designers. Not because they're bad at their job, but because they're good at their job and they try to make it a marketing or graphic design document, and it fails. So, also nurses, but that's a separate issue. Nurses also do not have good resumes. But those three have the worst resumes I've seen in my career. So, that's all I can do for this resume. Let's go to the last resume of this video. This is a resume that upsets me. This is like worse than the previous one in font wise. So remember, I'm reading 30 of these before yours and another 50 after yours. Arial 10.5. It is easy on the eyes. It is boring, and which is what we want. This is what was sent to me. I'm now going to have to like squint to try to read this. I stare at a computer screen all day. My eyes are terrible. You cannot just cram this all. Oh, you tried to do one page, didn't you? Yeah, page size doesn't matter, all right? People assume like, oh, you need one page, you need two pages, you need three pages. Page size doesn't matter. What matters is I find what I need in this section. That's it. First half of the first page. That's the most important. Well, it's a little bit less. So this section, first half of the first page. If I can't find it in the first half of the first page, probably not going to move you forward. Needs to be in the first half of the first page in bullet points. So what we're looking for in an intern for software engineer is degree, basic knowledge of the tech stack, such as language, library, SQL, cloud, ability to work well with others and take direction, criticism. We do not know this person's ratio. But let's start the clock and see if I can't find it in 20 seconds. So, Electron, no. TypeScript, okay. Fortune 500 is not what I'm looking for. RESTful APIs. Docker, React hooks. I just kind of found what I needed. Yeah. No. I mean, I found Docker and TypeScript and React, which is sort of what I'm looking for in CI/CD, but I didn't find how you worked well with others. I didn't even find any other languages. Like, I still would have preferred other stuff like JavaScript, HTML, and CSS if you're going for full stack, or if you're going for front end or back, if you're going for back end, Java or Python or C, and I didn't see those. And maybe they're here, but this is a nightmare to read. Remember, I have 20 seconds. I'm sure I missed stuff. A lot of resumes would be a lot better if we had 3 minutes to look them over, but we don't. We have 20 seconds. So here's how to fix this, which is, first off, I'm gonna teach you a little secret. I want you to highlight all of this in your resume. I want you to hit Control B and then hit it again until everything is not bolded. Your bolding has made this infinitively worse. Second, for the love of all the recruiting lords and ladies, please use 10.5 Arial. It is easy on the eyes. That's what we care about. It's easy on the eyes. Yeah, it's boring. That's what we like about it. All of our stomachs are upset from these crazy fonts and everything, when all we really need is plain old, like, oatmeal. Make it boring and basic. In addition, your qualifications here I don't even see. Like, again, I need a little bit more. This is too dense. I don't know what this is. Stop listing it out like this. This makes it worse and harder to read. This should be one line, and you need to delete these, whatever they are. I don't know what they are, and I don't really care. Generate, develop monolithic architecture with Docker. Again, this is too technical, and you don't show how you can take direction and work well with others. It's also a nightmare for me to actually be able to read this. So, fix your formatting, apply early, and for the love of all that is holy, don't use that font in that size. Do this. I'm going to give you all a second to breathe this in. I swear to you, this is peak. This is for real what recruiters want. I don't know what they say, but whatever. Never been cool. So this is good. This hurts. Okay? Don't do this. Also, add a bullet point about how you work well with others and take direction, criticism. And I would prefer a little bit more of the base languages. So again, I want like Java, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. The TypeScript is good. Maybe Python. That's what I need. So fix the formatting. There's a reason it looks like this compared to this. And that's it for me for this episode. Thank you all for watching. If you ever need any more help, you can join my Twitch live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST for, you know what, till I stop. Usually it's about 3 to 4 hours, so at 11 PST. And please like, comment, and subscribe. I will try to answer any questions in the comments, and I will see you in the next video to get you ahead of your job search.